12:17 in the morning, Sunday, 6/28/2020. Next Saturday is the 4th of July. And what is going to happen on the 4th of July, considering all the things that are happening with these so-called protests, and then police in major cities, maybe across the country, might be derelict of duty. That's not what it will be called, but they're going to, not show up for work. They're going to call in sick. This is very ominous. I have to say so myself. I was going to do a video, and I've been watching a lot of live footage of what has been happening in particularly, I guess, New York, Washington, D.C., Seattle, Oregon. It's very disturbing, okay? Some really evil things are happening, very crazy and demonic atmosphere, seemingly ready to explode. So I think as this week goes on, as we get to the weekend, to the 4th of July, things will be probably picking up in New York City and Washington, D.C., right at the White House, and I think this is going to escalate. At least that's what I think is happening and is going to continue to, especially as we approach the 4th of July. No police, unbelievable. Who's going to protect who? Who's going to stop anything from happening? Now they're terming this BHAZ, the Black House Autonomous Zone. Not the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or CHOP, Capitol Hill Occupied Protest. So maybe tomorrow I will try to do a video on that. It's Sunday morning, so actually it's, late Saturday night into Sunday. So I'm talking about Sunday. Hopefully sometime tomorrow maybe I could do that video. And the thing that's so despicable about all of this from the start is that they all just let this happen. They all just sat back and let it happen because that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted to happen. All of them. Whatever happens up to the 4th of July and on that day, whatever happens and the scope of it, after that, likely right after that, the week after that, or whatever next weeks, probably this COVID and a lockdown situation, I think, is going to develop very swiftly, probably in conjunction with this. But basically, this entire country, the entire United States, more or less, on the 4th of July will be, I don't know, will it be protected? Or are they just walking out and, in certain major cities to put on a big show and make a big, scene? And, the rest of the country will more or less be okay, except for these big cities and these so-called protests in those areas, which will look like a hell zone. Just, like animals run amok, running crazy. That seems like what, I don't know. That seems like that's what's going to happen on the 4th of July. And plus, it's a day of fireworks and loud explosions. That seems like that might be a part of this, play into this, whatever might happen. So I'm just coming on here I just wanted to say that briefly and say that's what I think is going to happen. But, don't be afraid. Don't be fearful about anything. And I believe that, again, very shortly, things are going to start escalating and heading downhill. really from this point on, from right now, though it's probably more likely that it'll be a controlled and contrived progression of events, although likely with this culmination, this big situation that might exist on 4th of July, this coming Saturday. So it looks like that's where the action is going to be. The White House, Washington, D.C., whatever craziness might happen there, New York, the West Coast, and apparently it's not really being reported, but I guess these protests are going on in pretty much mostly every major city. So I think it's very likely that this is going to be a wide-scale event across the whole country, and you might see this sort of occupied country every major city and who knows where else claim to be occupied by these groups, these subversive, evil, demonic, vicious, hateful, and destructive ones, whoever they are. So again, it's very, very, very unlikely that anything will oppose this. Nothing at all will be able to or will oppose this. If this is how this happens on the 4th of July, there will be no law enforcement, nothing. I maybe shouldn't even mention this, but possibility of sleeper groups, you know what I'm saying, unexpected others that might, who knows, be a part of this and take part in it unexpectedly. So I think the rapture has to be so close here. It really does. It's just absolutely insane what is happening. There's no description or words for it. It's worse than the Twilight Zone. It's you can't put it words to what's going on. So again, if this happens and goes down like this, it seems very likely that in about a week after that things should be clamping down probably pretty hard with this CV stuff again. And in my opinion, that will be it. That's all she wrote as far as having another chance or things going back to normal. I think that's it, because there's only after this weekend, there's only 8 weeks, let's say 9 weeks left till school starts. So I think there's going to be a so-called full-blown pandemic by that time, sometime by then. I believe so, probably somewhere in September or so. And I keep talking about October. I think that might really be the time when this all comes to a head, and hopefully we'll be out of here whenever that happens, because it seems like to me, the way things are, that there is going to be a vaccine very shortly. I believe so, probably within the same timeline, within the next, let's say, 8 weeks as we head into after July and August into September. And then I think quickly and recklessly running ahead with forcing everyone that's here to have vaccination, with also will involve a chip, a microchip combination, probably rolling out again in the same timeline, after September, probably sometime into October, and then the rest of the year. These are just my thoughts, but the more I see everything and think about it and see what's going on, it seems like this is the timeline. It seems like the 4th of July is sort of like the kicking off point of this. So if you're in major cities where any of this unfortunate, whatever you want to call it, might be happening, well, just stay safe and keep away from all those areas if you can. Get out of there, Hopefully not much will happen in the outskirts, less populated areas, suburban areas, except it seems that many, many towns, I don't know, maybe even most towns in every state, although I don't know, might have their own version of this going on. I know that even where I live, very suburban area, away from away from a lot of stuff, but that they coordinated their own march, BLM march, I guess. I think they did, and I would imagine other towns. So hopefully not much will happen. Hopefully, if it does, it'll be brought under control. But I guess it would have to require other means. I mean, either National Guard or Army or whatever. And also, hopefully nothing, let's just say, unforeseen might go on in conjunction with this to take advantage of such a situation in such a vulnerable state of this country. But they're all culpable. Every single one of them just stood back and let it all go. Just totally let it all go, like nothing, like they didn't want to stir anything, acting all tolerant and hands off. And when they knew and they know full well what they're doing, they do. It's just totally outrageous, absolutely outrageous. And again, hopefully nothing much will happen, and it will just bring on the appearance, of things blown way out of proportion to make it look a certain way and bring fear and all that kind of thing. So I just hope that nothing major happens, and that's all there is to this. So I guess the truth would seem otherwise. It probably does seem otherwise. That, I guess I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to keep harping on this and painting some kind of picture, but that's the way I see it. I mean, the rapture's got to happen at some point in all of this, and this would be an ideal time, really. They want order out of chaos. So I just thought I'd read 2 Timothy chapter 3 of 2 Timothy. It says, "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof, and from such turn away." I hope this video didn't upset anyone. It's just that this seems like this is what might happen, okay? And I just feel very sad about it all. That's the main thing that I feel. The tragedy of everything. If this happens like this, it might not even... I guess I'll sort of stick with that scenario that I had sort of felt that, like, maybe within the next two weeks, or within 2 to 3 weeks, like the whole scene, the whole complexion landscape of things, maybe even of this country, might drastically change and become even more unrecognizable. All right, like I said, I might do a follow-up on this and show the footage and things going on.